Okay, we'll call this meeting of personnel together. First item of business, approve the minutes of the last month's meeting. Motion by Supervisor McDevitt, second by Supervisor Sokol. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay, provision. Yes, Dr. Duffy, anything to offer?
Good morning. Hi, everyone.
Morning.
Happy Friday. I was here yesterday, and I thought I'd come back, so.
Okay.
I just do what my calendar tells me, so I,
You didn't get the memo, huh?
Yeah, I did. I'm sure I did, but anyway, thank you for some time. I want to talk about three things. The first is we are starting earlier than usual for our state budget advocacy efforts. As you may recall, last year we got a little bit of a step forward with the state in recognizing that the antiquated per FTE formula is really outdated, and need to recognize the fact that enrollment goes through ebbs and flows. Also the fact that FTE, as it's defined, which is full-time equivalent, you don't live in the enrollment world, but it really doesn't encompass all the things that the college does. So when we talk about enrollment, we sometimes focus so much on our credit students, for example, and those that are full-time, when in fact we serve a lot of part-time students, and we also have a whole plethora of opportunities for non-credit students. So when we talk about enrollment now, we really serve about 8,000 people a year in credit and non-credit. We're only funded on 2,800 FTE. So there's a lot of reasons why moving away from a purely FTE model is a good thing for community colleges across the state. So this past year, the legislation was we were able to receive 98% of our total of the year before, or a $100 increase per FTE, whichever was greater for an institution. And we're grateful for that in terms of recognizing a new formula. However, we would like it to be 100% of the year before. We're not really sure where 98% came from. There seems to be a love of 2% for everything. But we'd like to receive 100% of the year before, as well as continue the $100 per FTE for those colleges that do have an opportunity for growth. So we've crafted a resolution that has actually gone to the New York State Association of Counties. So Steve Aquario has it, and is going to be presenting it to his constituents. Our Board of Trustees just passed a resolution. The New York State Economic Development Council, we're bringing it to Warren County EDC, as well as the Chamber, and we would love the board's support in terms of adopting a resolution in support of our efforts that could then be sent on to the governor's office and our state representatives. So I have copies here. I can send you the electronic copy.
Right, I would say get the information to Ryan.
But I'll just leave it just so you can see the
certainly,
language if you're interested. And then I'll send it along to
Ryan
for you to consider at your next board meeting, and appreciate that. The second thing is enrollment. So the fall semester, of course, is off and running. As I was just saying to Doug, everyone's still happy because it's only the 4th week of classes. There's still a lot of energy around campus, so we're pleased about that. As I reported earlier, we did receive a decline in enrollment, which we had projected. We're a little bit below budget than what we had expected, but we'll be able to make up that shortfall throughout the academic year. But some bright spots still, though. We have a lot of great students from all over our counties, and some of our programs that we had started a year ago have still showed continued growth, so we're happy about that. Our residence hall, we're about at 387. Our capacity is around 400. I was just saying that we had 22 students that we were counting on that didn't show up, which happens sometimes. And as we've kind of dug into that data, some of those students just couldn't get the finances together, which, we don't really want people coming in, moving in if they can't really pay at this point, whether it's through aid or other means. But we're continuing to look at new ways to grow our enrollment, diversify our enrollment so that we're not so dependent on just high school students or just working adults. As I've said before, and we're seeing it across the nation, and particularly in New York State, that it's kind of the perfect storm. We have full employment for the most part, and we also have a declining demographic population. So those two things together really do take a hit in the community college sector, and really in higher ed in general, even if you see some of the four-year schools across the nation. So we're all looking at new ways we can diversify that enrollment, still recognizing that the core of our student body is certainly students coming directly from high school and also the working adult. And then the final thing is some really great news. We got to start off our week We just got word that we were awarded $2.2 million grant from the U.S. Department of Education. And it's a 5-year grant, so $450,000 a year that we'll be able to invest in specifically student success initiatives and increasing our technology capacities. This is a pretty competitive grant. It's called Title III. This was our second try at it, and we got it, so we're really excited, a lot of celebrating around campus. But it will primarily focus on redesigning our first-year experience for students. So how do we bring students into the institution? How do we help them make good decisions, particularly in that first year? How do we set them up for the best amount of success? So we're going to kind of assess what we do, make changes based on promising practices. Also some funding to go towards continuing to work on remediation in math, which is still kind of that killer course just for some students. And as I said, implementing some technology enhancements that will free up personnel to do the one-on-one work that they should be doing with students instead of a lot of manual paper pushing still. And so we have an opportunity. The grant is intended for helping institutions strengthen themselves, particularly focused on the success of low-income students. I said 3, I have one more thing. We also, last week, got some updated data, and our graduation rates, both at the 2-year level and the 3-year level, have continued to increase, substantially so that we are now ahead of the average of all SUNY community colleges for our 2-year rate, and we're now meeting the national average for our 3-year rate. Really good news for the college. A lot of work has happened over the past 5-6 years in terms of very focused efforts from all different areas of the college, and we're really proud of that outcome. So that's what I had to share today. But
That's good. I all positives there, so you get that out in the community. Doug, you had a question?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Ms. Duffy. SUNY Adirondack, and I doubt if anybody knows it, works with high schools to create programs so that we can fill the jobs needed in the area. And this is a vital program, because I hear so many employers saying, I just can't find people. I've got a job for $80,000. I can't find a welder. I can't find this. I can't find that. So the trades are definitely being underserved. Yet Ms. Duffy and area schools, Dr. Huntley in Queensbury and some other schools in Warren County are significantly making a huge effort to try to fill that need. And I applaud that. And I encourage all of us in this room to talk to your superintendents of schools to make sure that they're aware of the program. It concerns me a little bit that some of them don't participate in that, which blows my mind. But anyway, I just want to thank you for being so proactive in trying to fill the needs of the area employers to that program. Thank you.
Thank you. And if I could, that reminded me.
We're not on any time frame.
I said 3 and now I'm at 5. Actually today our faculty will be voting on a new program that we anticipate moving forward, and it'll go through the state and state ed, but it's really exciting and it's absolutely related to the trades. We've been talking with 773, the Plumbers and Steamfitters Union, about how we can help journeymen be able to complete an associate degree to give them the skill set in terms of opening their own business. They get a lot of the trade skills worked through the journeyman process, but we want to add to that and be able to encourage them to be able to gain the business skills. So we will be offering a new program that will be about building trades supervision. They'll do half of the credits are in their journeyman program. We'll give credit for that, and then they'll have the other half with coursework with us to complete an associate degree. They've been doing this over the years with Washtenaw Community College in Michigan, so we think they maybe should do it through their local community college. And this would be an associate in occupational studies, which is really a new venture for Adirondack to be moving into, particularly the trades area. So, I'm really proud of our faculty and the campus community to make sure that we're addressing all of the comprehensive needs of our community, and this is yet another example.
Jean, did you have any questions for her about your hospitality shortages?
Me?
Yeah.
Always fighting
He's
on that.
always, yes.
I'm always asking there, but I get no response. But we keep busy. I'm going to stop in.
You're not the only one. That's the problem, is that we only have so many students in our culinary and hospitality program, and you and everyone else are stacked up on trying to find people to work. We do our best to try to spread that out as much as we can. Students in those programs have a lot of choices, and so we'll do everything we can to try to feed people to you.
Well, you've met me a couple of times, we talked a few times, and my biggest concern is some small business like me, we're I won't say shutting down, but we're not taking as much work in because we don't have the people to perform the jobs that needed to do a great job. But I think the state, county should get together with this unemployment. We have a lot of people in this county unemployed. I know some of them definitely need it, but if we don't change something to make people work 20 hours a week, I would hire 5 of them. And I know this county is totally hotels, motels, bed and breakfast, restaurants, amusement parks, so we don't need rocket science people working for us, but
Right,
we
and in
just
some
need
cases,
them.
they really don't need a college degree, and so that's where we're kind of caught in a bind where, we want students to come out and do well, and it's a catch-22.
It's hard. I was blessed this summer. I had 2 girls from Thailand, 4 months on a work visa program. Whew. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, phenomenal. And I had cried when they left 2 weeks ago to go back home. I tried to convince them to stay, but they wouldn't. But the point I'm trying to make is they even talk to us because they work part-time like at Upriver, a couple of nights a week busing and everything else. They say to me, hey, American kids, lazy. and I was paying a minimum wage, 11 plus. In their country, if they worked in a hotel like mine, they make $15 a day. A day. We're giving them 11. Their money is out there for people unemployed. Get them in the workforce. Force them to get in the workforce. That would help not all of Warren County, but the whole state. That's enough of my speech.
Supervisor Leggett?
Thank you, Chairman. President Duffy, congratulations on the increase in leading the field on graduation rates. How are we doing with academic performance overall? Where do we stand?
That's a broad category,
Yes, it
so
is.
I want to make sure I can answer that. Certainly, getting more students to graduate is absolutely reflected on academic performance. We have more students. We have less students actually coming in needing remediation, which I think is a direct result of some of the work that we've been doing with the high school. So, for example, the past several years, we do some early placement testing in quite a few of the high schools, like in their junior year, to identify for the student, look, if you went to college today, this is where you might place in English or math, and so it gives them a year to try to remediate in the high school rather than spending extra time and money at the college level. So that percentage that we're seeing is continuing to drop, which I think is a good start, because then it starts them out on a better foot, right? If you don't need to have some of that remediation, you're a little more college ready, and therefore it doesn't take as many resources on our end. Our outcomes for our students, though, who are the most vulnerable and are part of our support programs, are doing very well. Our outcomes at EOP is one program that we received a couple years ago through the state, and it's a very intensive, intrusive program for students coming from low-income backgrounds as well as academically need a leg up. The outcome rate for those students is gradually going up, which means that we know that intensive, intrusive services matter. They're money intensive. They require people, as I say. They can't be replaced by robots. And so that's where our expense comes, and that's why even this Title III grant that I just described is really helpful for us. It'll allow us to hire some more success coaches to really work with students on how to make sure they get the access to services that they need, both academic and psychosocial services. Kind of a broad answer, but, hope that
Thank
gives
you, yeah, and it's a complex one.
Yeah.
Supervisor Sokol, did you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to Gene's point, when we opened up our restaurant, we started with SUNY Adirondack kids, and maybe it was a mistake on our part because they were just too green, I think. But I spoke to you at this meeting a month ago, and I don't know if it's purely coincidental, but we just hired a girl 2 weeks ago from the culinary department.
Oh, awesome.
She's
Great.
taking up, she's doing great.
Great.
But maybe it's the personality of the employer.
I'm not getting involved in this.
I deserve that one, okay. No, I think it's more because Lake Luzerne is obsolete part of the county. It's hard for people to get there. You know, I've picked up people to go to work in the morning and bring them back.
Transportation is a problem for our
Transportation's a
students,
problem,
whether
too.
it's coming to college or getting to a job,
So,
and that's a problem I
I thought
think
we
we
were
have,
fine.
you know,
We're just-
countywide in some of the outlying areas. But I will not speak to personality.
Any
All
other
right.
questions?
Well, I deserve that one.
Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate
Thanks
your
for coming
time.
in. Good positive news. And now we need an executive session to talk about the CSEA negotiations. Can I have a motion to go into executive session to talk about CSEA negotiations? Supervisor McDevitt made the motion, Supervisor Leggett. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll do a short executive session. Take it.
Yeah, okay.
We'll go right on to our rest of the tracking record is attached. Any questions for Jackie on vacancies? Okay, we have a request to transfer funds, $1,500 from contingency account to accommodate requests under ADA policies, and I believe this is for the adjustable desk tops?
Yeah, so far that's the majority of what we've bought this year.
Yes.
We've also
So we have motion to approve the request of $1,500. Motion by Supervisor Molino. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Diamond. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. You ready to do your budget presentation?
Sure. I noticed right before I came up that basically the main page of my budget didn't make it into the agenda. Sorry about that.
I don't.
I'll lose myself.
Got the...
So-
No, I actually had the breaking plan, the way I was told to do it originally.
As usual, the HR department budget is small and unexciting. There's not much of a change in requests. It actually, when you look at the summary, it looks like there is a decrease for the year, but that's not totally true because we did get a transfer from the computer reserve fund for a big $13,000 for clocks. We're up a little bit if you take that out from last year, but the main reason for that is our EAP fees. Our contract expires in 2020 and we're expecting an increase there. And each year more and more people enroll in the high deductible health plan, so are subject to some HRA fees. But otherwise it's quite consistent with the previous couple of years. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jackie on her budget? Okay. Motion to approve and moving on to Frank, the budget officer. Motion by Supervisor Sokol.
We don't have to, I don't think we have to make a motion for this.
Oh, we don't?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Civil service.
We're asking for the same. We've moved a few dollars into different lines just to try to avoid transfers, but other than that, we're asking for the same budget. Pretty much we did increase our revenue projection based on a conversation with Ryan, and otherwise we are marching along and asking for the same budget. If anybody has any questions.
Any questions of Trish? As far as testing,
Everything's
going on?
going, actually everything's going pretty well. We're continuing to grow the program in terms of we're trying to find, as you heard about the employment, we're trying to find options to recruit better candidates to take the exams. We've been finding some pretty good results, and we're continuing that down that line. Staff is developing very well. We didn't have to use some of our money for training this year because we had local conferences. Next year we'll have to travel, so we left the money in for that. Things like that I think really help in this world, and we're going more electronic, and I think you'll see a lot of things in the next year. Can't promise it'll be in the spring, probably in the fall. We're hoping to go to online applications for our candidates, which we think, particularly for some of the more professional level positions, will be very successful. We're upgrading our website, things like that. But along the way, I just want to give a huge thank you to the IT department, who has really helped made our internal programming. After a long time trying to develop this, we're moving to a very effective program for processing all our different transactions.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Any questions for Trish? Thank you, Trish. Okay, we'll move right on to item 3. Is we have 2 requests from the Science Council, and I believe these salaries are paid for out of the grants, Ryan?
They are.
They are. One is to amend the table of organization salary schedule to fill a new position of account clerk part-time, grade 4. And the second one is to amend the table of organization salary schedule to create a part-time grant administrator position. Any questions on those? Motion by Supervisor Sokol. Do we have a second? By Supervisor Medeva. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's A and B. Health Services, Countryside Adult Home requests to amend Resolution 166 of 2019 to extend the termination date of the senior aide part-time temporary position to December 31st. Somebody want to bring that to the floor? I'll move it. Second by Supervisor Medivit. Any questions about this part-time position in Countryside? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. There's no pending items. Vacancies are in your packet. All approved by committee. Anything else to come in front of the Personnel Committee? Motion to adjourn by Supervisor Sokol. Do we have a second? By Supervisor Frazier. All in favor? Aye. On to the next.
So,
All right.